All right, well, welcome everyone to Popcorn and Parables. My name is Joey.
I'm Elias.
And we are just two dudes who love Christ and have a passion for film. Now, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we're going to be doing something a little more personal, a little more intimate. It's going to be more about us than about any movie in particular. Today, as you saw in the title of the video, we're going to be doing something called the Parable of Two Film Lovers.
That's us.
Yes, we are the film lovers, of course. Now, I don't want you to think that like, oh, a parable of two film lovers, is this from the Bible? No, it's not. This is our idea. This is something that we came up with. Think of it as like how people give their testimonies, right? This is gonna be our movie testimony, our movie origin story, how we're basically giving you our why as to why we're so passionate about the film industry and about movies in general. So that's what we're gonna do today. We hope you guys enjoy. It's gonna be a little more personal, like I said. So you're gonna learn a lot about us and a lot about our passion for film. But before we get started, do you have anything that you want to add?
No. Basically, you just mentioned everything about it. But again, it's just the concept of just why we just love films and just our understanding behind it, or how we view it, and yeah, I'm excited. Let's get started.
Yeah. So just to kind of explain a little bit more before we go into it, we have 4 questions that we're gonna attempt to answer, and this is gonna give you our movie testimony, our origin story for film. And once again, we just hope that you guys enjoy. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the first question. So, question that we have for the first one, and I'm gonna let you go first here. What was the very first movie that you remember watching that stuck with you?
Oof.
Yeah. That's
So-
back to like when you were like an embryo.
So for me, and it would just for me, it's why this is my favorite film of all time. But when I think of one movie that just sticks with me, it's always going to be Jurassic Park. So growing up, it was me. I have 3 siblings, so it was 4 of us growing up. My dad was the only one that worked at the time, so one of the things we had as entertainment was we had a TV, and we had like 5 VHS tapes, and one of them was Jurassic Park. And I remember when I first saw this film, I fell in love with just the fastest. It made for a while. This movie almost took me to another path of life. Because of this movie, there was like a maybe 15-year span where I wanted to be a paleontologist, where like I was just very into dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And watching this film as a kid, like I fell in love with it. Like I would rewatch it over and over and over and over, to the point where I know the dialogue of that movie very well. I've read the book so many times. Like I just love that film so much. And it's a film that I can always rewatch it every time, and I'll still feel the same nostalgia, the same everything about it. And yeah, it's just such an amazing film for me. Like I mean, I could talk about Jurassic Park all day, like just how awesome it is.
Yeah. You could keep going if you want.
So like, and it's also crazy because like, example, whenever I go to Universal, I always go on the Jurassic Park ride. Not the Velocicoaster, not the new one, but the River Adventure one that nobody wants to get on. But I always get on. I always force everyone to get on it because I'm like, I love the nostalgia behind it. Like every time I get on it, and I know the dinosaurs are outdated now, but I still look at it and I'm like, oh my God, the T-Rex, look at the T-Rex. Like I just have I love that film so much.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one film, because then after that, I had other VHS tapes, and then, well, I guess when we go to the other questions, I can answer that more. But
Right.
What about you?
Yeah, so for me, the movie that really stuck with me, and the way I'm going to answer it, it's kind of like the first movie, but also the movie that really impacted me growing up as a kid. So for me, that movie is Ratatouille. Now, Ratatouille came out in 2007, and I remember watching it, when it came out, when it was like on Disney Channel or whatever. But I remember, kind of like you, how you said that you grew up and you had 5 VHS tapes growing up. For me, whenever we would go on road trips, I would have like that portable DVD player, the one that would flip up and you put the CD in. And for me, I had Ratatouille was one of them, and the other I always took was a WWE PLE, and I would watch that over and over. But the one that I mainly watched was Ratatouille, and for me, obviously as a jit, like you watch it and you're like, oh, two rats, oh, a bunch of rats, oh, and you know. So what's funny, Ratatouille is what inspired my love for France. It's one of the reasons, and Paris. It's one of the reasons why I want to go to France so bad, and I haven't been able to go yet. Hopefully, God willing, one day. Um, but it's like the way I look at the Eiffel Tower. Whenever I look at it, I always think of Ratatouille. Like,
Really?
yeah, like it's one of the reasons like why I love movies now, because Ratatouille. As I've grown up, I've seen it over and over and over again as I've grown up. And the one scene that always sticks with me is the scene where Remy gives Gus, is his brother, the fat red mouse.
Sure.
I think his name is Gus.
Let's call him Gus.
Whatever. So he gives his brother like the cheese and the grapes to try, and then like as they're eating it, it's like the boom 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 of like the little like effects, and Remy's like, yeah, that's what happens when you eat food. He's like, Remy's trying to teach Emil like it's not just flavor when it comes to like food. It's also like the vibes, the feelings that you get when you eat it. It's so much more than that. And that's also kind of how I feel about movies, but I'll get to that once we get to the other questions. But yeah, like that movie, like Ratatouille used to be my favorite movie of all time because it's stuck with me. As I've grown up, obviously it fluctuates and it's fluid. One day I'll like Ratatouille is my favorite. The next day I'll like another one. But Ratatouille for me has always stuck with me since I was a kid. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't the first movie, but it was definitely the movie that I remembered from my youngest self. So
yeah. Everything started with dinosaurs and
rats.
A rat that cooks.
Dinosaurs and rats.
Dinosaurs and rats.
For real. All right, ready to move on to the next question?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'll
You got it.
All right. So the second question we got here is, what makes movies more than just entertainment to you?
I love this question. So good. You want me to go?
Yeah.
All right.
I asked
awesome.
you.
So you're right. So this question is one of my favorites that we have here. The reason why is because whenever somebody asks me like, why do you watch movies, number one, and why do you love them so much? The answer that I always give them is when people make movies, when people sit down in the writing room and when the directors are behind the camera and they're looking at what they're seeing, at least from what I understand and what I would assume, is that the way that they look through the lens of how they're making a movie is that they want to transport you out of your current reality and put you in their story. So for me, I know a movie, and I explained this in our last video, but I'll go more in depth about it, is when you sit in that chair in the movie theater, when you see like the lights start to dim and then like the movie actually starts, from that point on until the movie,
images.
Shout out Nicole Kidman at AMC. Shout out the A-listers. You're the real ones. But yeah, like you sit in that chair, the lights dim, the movie starts. From the moment that the movie starts until the end of it, I know a movie was good when I'm taken out. Like, if I'm not thinking about the fact that I'm sitting in a movie in a chair and I'm thinking about what's going on in the movie and how, like, the story, I'm just so locked in the story. Like, I'm getting upset at something because of what they did. If I'm like really like locked into what they're giving me, and then the movie ends and I'm like, oh, I feel like I just teleported back to where I was, you know? Like, it's the fact that they take you out of your current reality and teleport you into what they're trying to tell you, like their story that they made. Like, if they successfully were able to do that, then then to me, that is a success in terms of movie making and also just in terms of like storytelling as well. But I live for that, you know. I live to be taken out of my reality and then be put into this story that I'm so like into, you know. So that's what makes it more than just entertainment. It's more than just sitting in a chair and being there for 2 hours. Like, oh, when is this gonna end? Whatever. Whenever that happens, I definitely don't want to be there. But I live for when filmmakers are able to transport you into what they want you to be in, and then you're just so invested in it. And that's an amazing moment for me. But Elias, what about you?
So for me, what makes movies entertaining is, I guess for me, it would be just the concept of calling it cinema and calling cinema art.
Mhm.
So just the concept of just something about just art with just visuals
Mhm.
and the idea of just, hey, this is a story that we're going to give you.
Mhm.
We're going to show you this story and everything behind that, from again how it's written, how it's acted, how it's viewed. Kind of like how you said, like it just, if a film can just take you to a different place,
Mhm.
then I feel like it's doing its job.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things about films is that they have the ability, the fact that movies have the ability to just, that you can just become something else.
Yeah.
So in the sense of, again, when you watch like Superman or a
Mhm.
Batman, you're seeing superheroes on the big
But you
screen.
feel like you're those people watching him like do what
Yes.
he's doing, and it's man,
Yes, and that's the
it's an
thing.
indescribable feeling. It's
When
crazy.
films like are able to do that, where they're where you watch this, you start visualizing yourself in that realm, in that place. Because how many times, again, growing up, you watch a superhero movie and you leave, you want to be a superhero,
Mhm.
or how many times like you watch like me, like Jurassic
Yeah.
Park, it's like, oh, like I want to be there, I want to
Mhm.
be in the dinosaurs, or any film in general. Like just you start thinking of how, what would you do in this situation? So it's the idea of just becoming something else,
Yeah.
portraying something else that I find fascinating, and in a way, just for films to just convince you of that.
Yeah.
Of, hey, we're gonna create this world right now, and in this world, superheroes exist, dinosaurs exist, zombies exist. Like the fact that you create this world, and it, in a way, you just transport it to that place, like you said. It makes you believe
Yeah.
in that world.
Yeah.
Because again, for a second, you're watching like example, like a superhero film, and you believe that superheroes exist,
Yeah.
or the supernatural things you see on the screen exist. So yeah, like you said, like it's basically just warping you to
Yeah.
that place.
Mhm.
And I agree with you on that, because like when I watch a film, like for me, a 5 star, like I said, when I talk about like 5 star films, is just able to do that ability where I can just
Mhm.
sit down and just lock into the screen
Yeah.
the whole time, and I'm just entertained, and I'm not looking at how much time we have left,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, wow, like as soon as I finish, I'm like, oh, like, that was a good film.
Yeah. I think one of those. I know you wanted to talk about it. And I'll bring it up because I just can't stop thinking about it. Is F1.
Yes.
That movie, man. Like, if you've seen it, you've seen it. But I'm gonna spoil it because that's what we do here. If you watch it to the end and you were seeing like the end of the race, and as soon as that last moment happens, and all of a sudden everything goes like silent, and all you hear is like very dimly, you hear the sound of Sonny's car just driving, and
He's flying.
he's locked in, and you hear like, what's he doing? He's flying. And now he keeps going. He's
And in that
driving.
second of
He's
silence-
driving. And like, again, it's such an indescribable feeling because in that moment, like you feel like I don't know if in the movie they added like a sound effect of the heart beating or if that was my heart beating.
You do.
I don't
No,
know
it does
what it
have
was.
It has a.
Okay, so I thought it was mine, but like in that, I literally felt like my heart like boom, 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 because I'm like, what's gonna happen? And then the moment that he crosses the finish line,
And Sonny
like,
Hayes wins it.
and
Like you just
everything in me just wanted to be like, ah, in the movie theater. Like I just wanted to like get out of my seat and ah, like I wanted to just, man,
And
it was such a good moment.
You know, F1 is a
Yeah.
perfect example of a film that does that, because, like I said, this year alone, films that I've seen in theaters, I've only given so far out of the year, I've only given 2 films 5 stars.
Yeah.
F1 is one of them, and like we talked before, like I've always wanted to talk about F1 in particular because it's such a good film, and I love the fact that basically that takes you to a world, because you can watch F. The thing about I love about F1 is that you can watch it and not understand nothing about F1 or
You
racing.
don't need
nothing.
F1 lore.
You don't need lore about it.
No.
You just walk in and exactly what it does. It just takes you into that universe, and you already familiar with the world, what's going on and everything.
Like it felt like I knew Sonny Hayes like my whole life.
Yes,
That's the crazy part, bro.
exactly.
And that's what makes a good film.
And that's what it's supposed to do.
That's what
Like it
makes a
takes
good
you to that
film.
place. You start relating to the characters and everybody around them. And when you see them finally accomplish the goal, you just feel so happy.
Yeah.
Because again, I know everybody was just so happy when, like, again, spoilers, where, because the whole time Sonny Hayes is never really thinking about himself, but just trying to have his teammate win.
Yeah.
So then when he sees that his teammate sacrificed himself and he finally wins one, like it just feels good. And even the fact that at the end, like he lets it sink in, but then like he just all right, now do the next thing, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's a great example of just a film that just takes you to another world.
And I could give other examples, but for the sake of time,
Yeah.
let's move on. You ready to move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the next one, and I'll let you go first on this one. The next question we have is, how do you feel when you sit down in a theater, the lights dim, and the previews roll?
I feel like Nicole Kidman.
Mm-hmm. That preview that she gives before the movie, like literally, that's what could answer this question. Literally every word of it.
So, for me, one of the things that I love about going to the movies is I'm one of those people that I love the previews. I love to sit down and watch the previews.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't, there was a time where like if I couldn't make the previews, I would not go see the movie because I need to see the previews.
Yeah.
And I said what I love about the previews is that it is the only time in the world where it doesn't matter what you do outside of life, like no matter what you do as a profession, that is the only time where everybody can agree that they're all critics.
Absolutely.
So here's what I mean. Like you're watching the film, like you see the trailer, like bah, da 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 da, and then as soon as you finish it, you just go next to the person you're just talking about, like, oh, you saw that? Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, we should see that.
Yeah. Like,
oh, then
that looked good. That looked good.
Yeah.
And
Or
you're like, yo,
then,
that was terrible.
And then the next one, like, oh, that's gonna be bad. I'm not gonna watch that.
Yeah. No.
Like
terrible.
you just feel like you're in a way. That's like the one time everybody is a critic, and then you go through those films, and then I'm not gonna like once like Nicole Kidman starts talking, you're like, oh, we're getting somewhere, and then just that experience of just. And here's the thing about me though, when I watch films. So one weird thing about me is that I like to watch films at night because that's mostly where adults go. So there's not really kids running around being loud. So I just like sitting there and just sitting down and being in the silence, and it's just that feeling of just sitting down and like like you're about to watch something for the first time, and the fact is, whatever happens in the end, you're gonna come out different in the sense that you're gonna come out praising what you just saw, or you're gonna come out disliking what you just saw. But at the end of the day, once you finish it, you're gonna come out different of just how you portray the film.
Yeah. I think well, before I get into the answer, I think one of the things that resembles a good film from a terrible film is if after you finish watching a movie, if you don't have that parking lot conversation, the movie was terrible. The movie was absolutely terrible. Like, maybe I'm being a little bit extreme, but like, man, like those after movie yaps where you talk about the movie and what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, like that's where the real like review is, like. And I'm gonna plug in our Letterboxd here. If you guys want to see our movie reviews, we're gonna put our Letterboxd accounts in the description so you guys can give us a follow. We're not sponsored. Letterboxd, let us know. But I would say that if you have a Letterboxd account, then you love to share your opinion and you love to let people know like what you think about things, and people follow you and they look at what you do so that they can see. If you cannot do that with a movie, then the movie failed. And that's just my opinion. You can disagree if you want, but that's just my opinion. Like if you can't talk about a movie afterward, then it's like, come on, like that movie didn't do its job. But I'm yapping too much. I'll get into the question. So when I sit down in a theater and I see that the lights dim and the previews are going on like right before the movie starts, like, just to kind of echo what Elias was saying, like I love watching the previews because, again, what he was saying, like it lets me know what's coming. And in a way, it kind of gives you the scope of how Hollywood is doing right now, like with the movies that are coming out. So and obviously I know that the trailers change depending on which genre of movie that you're watching. Like, for example, if you're watching a horror movie, like I love to do, then you're going to get trailers for horror movies. If you're watching like a thriller, you're going to get trailers for thrillers, and you're going to see more thriller stuff. If you're watching a rom-com, you're going to get more rom-com trailers. But the point being, like, with the trailers that you're seeing, you're going to see the direction that they're going, and also what, like, level Hollywood is on right now in terms of, like, how good they're doing or how bad they're doing. And I love to see that. That, in specific, I love to see that. But I also love to see what's coming out so that I know, like, oh, like what he was saying. Like, if we go together, which we do often, we'll go together. I'll be like, oh, that one was good. I'm gonna put that. all right, yo, that one was
the
terrible. I'm
watch
not gonna
list.
see that. Yeah, I'll put it on the watch list on Letterboxd, whatever. So I'll be like, yo, that was good. I'm gonna watch it. Yo, that was bad. I'm not gonna see it. And whatever. Like, man, I just like I'm locked in, but I'm also relaxed at the same time because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, number one, but also I don't want like to put so much pressure on the movie to where it's gonna be like where I have like a high expectation. Like sometimes I go into a movie with a high expectation. I feel like everyone does that. Like for Superman, everyone going into Superman is like, yo, this is Superman. This has to be good. And if it's not good, it's gonna be terrible, you know? And then when they come out, when they come out of it, then they're gonna have their opinion and whatever. But I don't want to walk in like too chained to my expectations. I kind of want to be a little more fluid, and I'm not perfect at it, but that's usually how I am when I sit down in the chair and I'm waiting for the movie to start. And then once the movie starts, that's usually how I am. But yeah, that's for me on that.
Speaking of Letterboxd, quick question. When you watch a film, how much time do you take before you sit down and say, hey, this is my review on it?
I know for you, your answer is going to be different. But I will say that like recently I've kind of changed. I'm fluid in this. Like sometimes when I know what it is, like literally right after I watch a movie, I will review it on Letterboxd and I'll put it there. Sometimes, like for example, the movie that we last seen recently was Long Walk. Long Walk, like we watched it and I gave it like my star rating, but I didn't write anything on it because I was still kind of like processing, like, man, what did I just watch? And then it wasn't until the next day that I gave it my review, but I usually never do that. So for me, it's been a little more fluid as far as like how I go about it. But usually what I do is as soon as the movie ends, as I'm still sitting in the chair, like if there's a post-credit scene coming, then as the credits are rolling, I'll give my review there. But recently I did do that where I'll give it some thought, I'll sleep on it, and then I'll give my review after like a day. But what about you?
I actually give it a whole day before I put a review.
It's probably smart.
So what I do is I watch the film. I already kind of have an idea of like, okay, this is what I'm going to give it. There's times when I watch a film, there's times when I watch a film and I already know like midway, I'm like, okay, like I already know where I'm leaning towards.
Right.
So for example, like if I see, like we're watching The Long Walk, I was like, okay, for sure. I'm like, this is going to be passing 3 stars for sure already, like mid movie.
Isn't that so cool though? Like as the movie goes on, like you're kind of like
you start rating it already.
Okay, this is a 4. Okay, this is a 3.
I'm gonna take a star off because of this.
Right. That's the coolest part of a movie rating for me.
So for me, I let it. As soon as I get out the film, I usually talk about it with you.
Right.
But then before I go to sleep, like I just. Like the last thoughts I have before I go to sleep is just the movie, analyzing the movie again, and then I'm like, okay, how do I feel?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like this movie deserves type of like this one. Like I told myself, like I think deserves like 4.5 stars, and I'm like, okay, let's see how I feel about it when I wake up. And then literally, I wake up and I get myself ready, and then before I go to work, like as soon as I get in my car, I tell myself like, okay, no, it's 4 stars. Like that is my final thing, and then before I clock in, I just post my rating already.
Right. I think the funniest part about all of this is that a lot of people are going to hear that and they're going to be like, "Wow, they take movies that seriously." But that's the point. Like that's how passionate we are about it, that we really go this far into like, man, like what is my rating going to be? Because that's how much we care for the film industry. Like we want to do it justice, like the point being like we want to do the film industry justice and we want to make sure that we're doing it like, and let's just move on. I'm doing too much. Anyway, do you want to give the last question?
Yeah. So
awesome.
I've actually been thinking about this one since I saw it because I'm not sure how I'm going to answer it.
Do you want to answer first then?
No, you can answer it first. I still got, but like,
okay.
So how has your love of movies shaped who you are today? Which I'm like, wow. Yeah,
this question is really good. And out of all these questions, I'm not going to lie, this one kind of took me the longest to really think about and process because as I explained, like for example, with Ratatouille is a movie that I grew up watching. And it's helped to like, believe it or not, that movie has kind of like shaped me a little bit into who I am, you know,
It made you a
and
chef.
it made me learn how to cook. No, I'm kidding. I learned through Remy. I bought the cookbook. No, I didn't. But just to kind of simply put it, how is your love of movies shaped who you are today? My love of movies has shaped who I am today simply because of, number one, the passion that I have for it and how I'm constantly surrounded by it. Like, I talk about movies every single day. There doesn't go a day where I don't talk about, whether it's a movie in specific or whether it's like a trailer that I send in our movie group chat, or whether it's like literally talking about like a memory I had. Oh, like, do you guys remember when this happened in this movie? Oh yeah, whatever. And then we'll yap about that. But the point being, like, there doesn't go a day where like a movie or something about a movie does not get brought up. And that's how like passionate and important movies really are to me, you know? And I think one of the biggest ways that I feel like movies have impacted me is the love and passion that I have for it like coexist with my love and passion for Christ. And one of the ways that I explain that is like, one of my favorite things to do is I love to use movies as like as an analogy to be able to compare it to like a biblical reference that happens like actually in the Bible. Like, there's some movies that try to emulate that, you know, and like it helps people to better understand it as well at the same time. So I love using movies to kind of help people understand it better. And you know, it does help people better understand, because they look at the movie and they're like, oh, this is cool. But once they like make those connections to how it compares to a reference from the Bible, they're like, wow, now that reference in the Bible makes a lot more sense because of how you use this example for the movie. And I just, man, I love movies, man. I really do. And again, like, it's a part of my daily conversations. I use it even in my daily walk with Christ, and helping people better understand the Bible by using movie references. And it's awesome. It's really like this in a way, this video is really helpful for me because it's kind of like our love letter to the film industry. You know, it's kind of like me, it's us sharing our passion for films and just talking about why we love it so much and why we're even doing this in the first place, you know. And I love the fact that I can share a love for movies and also a love for Christ at the same time, where it doesn't take my love or passion for Christ, it doesn't take that spot, but it's something that can coexist, and I can use movies to I can use movies to give glory to God at the same time, you know. And that's one of the main reasons why I love them, and that's how it's shaped who I am today. I know I yapped, but
Yeah,
I feel like that was needed. But
that was good.
But yeah.
So now that I sat down and thought about it, I think my love for movies begins when I was a kid. So, and when I think of it, when I really think about it now, it just reminds me of just time I spent with my family.
Yeah.
So basically, what I mean by this is that, so yeah, we had growing up, we had a VHR, and then we had VHS tapes. So like, how do I say VHR? So again, we had like 5 VHS tapes, and then I remember my grandfather, he would watch films like they were playing on television. He would record them, and then he would give them to me, and then he would tell me like, "Hey, look, E.T. or hey, Jaws 2." And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, these films were all in Spanish, by the way. So like a lot of
El
these,
tiburón.
yeah. So like Jaws 2, like one of the films I remember was Jaws 2. So like I remember that like as soon as it just pops up, like Tiburón dos, and then E.T. But like E.T. was, so before I kind of yap about it, but like E.T. was a film that, fun fact, when I first saw it, I always thought this film was in Spanish when it came out. Like I thought it was a Spanish film when it originally came out, and then it wasn't until I think the 20th anniversary I saw it on TV, and they were like, "Oh, E.T. coming back to theaters," and I just hear him like, "E.T. phone home," and I was shook when I saw that, because I'm like, "Hold on, E.T. speaks English."
I thought he was Spanish.
I thought E.T. was a Spanish alien. So then, like growing up, like what I heard growing up was like, teléfono, mi casa. Like that's what I grew up listening to,
Yeah.
and that had me caught me by surprise that
Yeah.
he spoke English. So he would again, my grandfather would record these films, and I would watch them with him, with my family, and then after that, we started having this tradition, and we will go to so every Sunday, we will do the same thing every Sunday where we will go to church. As soon as we get out, we will go to a Chinese buffet, go to Dollar Tree for some reason, and then we will go to the local video store and we would just rent out films. And then just the feeling of just going there, seeing all these movies, and just like seeing different, like, because each cover is unique in its own way,
Right.
and you're just like, oh, like what's this one? Oh, you rent them. We will go home, we just watch them, and it was just, I always just remember those moments where I just sat down and just watched these films with my family. And a lot of these films were films that there were some films that I remember growing up I loved, like the Ninja Turtles trilogy. I saw it on VHS, and I remember there was a phase in my life where like I will rent the film, give it back, and then rent it again. And there were times where I'm like, I don't want to give this movie back. And that's where I saw a lot of like certain films growing up. So just that for me, films always connect to that feeling of just being together with somebody and just watching something on the screen. And for an hour to 2 hours, you're not really thinking about what's going on in your life or what's going with anything. You're just there, just being taken to a world. So I think how films shaped who I am now. Honestly, I think it's just the concept of just I'm a person that I'm not gonna lie, I do walk around, I do quote films. Like you ever just kind of quote films mid conversation. Like sometimes like if I see somebody lift something, I'm like, ooh, Hercules. like I quote that. Or like if I see someone like, or if I hug somebody, I'll be like, I begin to squeeze. Like those are things like those are references that I'm like that some people are gonna get and some people are not gonna get. And then the people that do get it, I'm like, oh, you're educated with films and stuff. So
and that brings conversations.
And again, it's a great conversation starter, especially in ministry. So there was a time frame where I was a youth pastor for a while, and in that time, like kids would talk to me about movies and stuff, and that was kind of my way to connect with them. They'll be like, oh, because again, when I was a youth leader, I was like 18 at the time. Most of these guys were younger, so like they're most like, oh, like you can get into rated R films, like that's so cool and whatever. So like I'll like, oh, I'll just share with them like, oh, like I think of this, this, and this, and the fact that people just listen to you, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess the way it just shaped me is just it taught me that what films teach me is that it doesn't matter what you're again like you could have a bad day, you can have a great day, you could be going through things, you could be having a lot of things in the mind, but for an hour and a half or 2 hours you're just locked in on a screen. You're just engaged in something. So I guess what it taught me was just the ability to just, okay, let me just, despite everything moving, let me just sit down and just keep my mind away from that for a bit.
Yeah.
And just let this be the focus.
Yeah.
And that's what films have always just been for me. It's just always been this app for me to just go to another place.
Yeah.
And I guess the term will be just, for me, films are just my free space. Like they're my free space.
Yeah. Your comfort zone, if you will.
In a way, yeah, comfort zone. It's just that there's something that I heard like a friend of mine say a while back, and like he says this during worship, where like right now, like if for the next like whenever we do sets, like he always tells me, oh, before I go up, like I say a prayer and I tell God like let me for the next 20 minutes make this a free space. So basically like free from whatever thoughts or anything or any worries and stuff. So that's what films gotta do for me. It's just a free space.
Yeah. To quote Nicole Kidman in her intro to the AMC theaters, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. And it's true what she says, like at some point, like you feel like that emotion that they're trying to invoke in you through the movie, like you really feel that, like when your favorite character dies in a movie, like you really feel that sadness, like you really feel that, like that sorrow as if it were real, and that we talked about that earlier in this video, but like those emotions are real, like they really hit
Yeah.
you, like man, I remember watching Endgame and seeing Iron Man like snap his fingers knowing that he was gonna die after that, like that hit me, it's like, man. And then after that, like the funeral for Iron Man happened after, and it's like you could almost feel like, man, I knew Iron Man my whole life, like
Yeah.
I knew him, like for real. I didn't, but I, like in that moment, it felt like I've known him forever because we grew up watching the actual Marvel movies, and then seeing his character arc and seeing him like as I grew up, and then all for him to just snap his fingers as a sacrifice, which can be a biblical reference, by the way. But anyway, um, to see him snap his fingers and sacrifice himself for everybody, and then them having a funeral, like, man, like I felt that, you know. And that's one of the amazing things about movies. And then to add also really quick, it's like you were talking about how your grandfather would have like that VHS tape maker, or just the VHS tape, like where you put it in and it
So
would
basically,
play.
it's a VHS. So like the VHS has an ability. I'm not sure how this works, but there's a way where you just put a cassette inside and you can record the TV, what's on the
Okay,
TV.
yeah. Well, the point being, what I was gonna say, like you bonded with your grandfather with that, and I feel like that's another aspect of it as well. Like that bonding that comes with like watching a movie with your friend, or watching movies as a group, like in your house, like that. In that moment, you're all bonding, being together in that story, and you're all like in that moment while you're watching it happen on a screen, and that's a whole other thing in and of itself, because now you've shared a memory with that person or those people while you're watching it, and just um, building memories with the people that you're watching it with is just another thing that it's like it's not to like be, not to say it like that, but like it's almost magical, like
Yeah.
it feels good, um, but yeah, that's all the questions that we got. Any closing remarks before we finish?
I don't think I have any at the moment, but I guess just again, just the point of this was just to talk about just again how much movies have impacted our lives.
Right.
And honestly, what's motivated us to even start this channel is just yapping about films,
Mm-hmm.
being able to just talk about films, and just in a platform like this where we're able to just talk about films, but also again use this platform just to exalt Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And like you said, like how certain films kind of are biblically related, and then also how we can use this platform to let people know, hey,
Yeah.
like how this is the certain example with films that people might not are concerned about watching, or maybe even questions about how do you feel about these things. And yeah, honestly, it's just
Yeah.
why we do this.
Yeah. I think what also explains our passion for film is the fact that we're even doing this in the first place.
Yeah.
That's the biggest giveaway. But that's mainly why we do it. But with that being said, I'll go ahead and close it off here. Guys, thank you guys for tuning in and watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button and turn on your post notifications. Like the video, leave a comment about any video suggestions, like we said in the last video, like any movie in particular that you would want us to review, maybe like a movie trailer that you want us to go into, or any topics or ideas that you guys have, just leave it in the comments below. But with that being said, I'm Joey.
I'm Elias.
And this was Popcorn and Parables. Thank you for tuning in.